This is an Eddystone S 640. It was one of Eddystone's sets they produced immediately after World War II. This was first marketed in 1947 for the mainly for the amateur band, radio amateurs in the UK after the war. Probably well-heeled ones. This wasn't a cheap set. But it's an interesting receiver. It's this particular one was restored by me back in 2010, thereabouts. I was actually given it by Chris Harmer of the Eddystone user group. It was in a bit of a basket case state when I got it. Set as a lift-up lid, which is kind of cool. And the cabinet has actually been refinished. It doesn't belong to this set. It actually belongs to Eddystone S 750, a later model than this, brought out about 3 years later. But the 750 I have has got a homemade perspex cabinet fitted to it. And when I got this set, it didn't have a cabinet, so I had a 750 cabinet given to me, which was powder coated, black wrinkle finish, which is the one that you see here. And I fitted it to the 640 when I restored it. The finger plate on this set is actually not a real finger plate. It's actually a reproduction. This is it's paper, made out of paper and printed on a laser printer. I had the artwork done professionally. And a few years later, after I did this, I had a offer of a new reproduction finger plate, which I bought. Also, the dial on this set is kind of discoloured. I don't know if you can see it, but it's got brown stains on it, and this wouldn't clean off. And also, some of the red marking has faded badly. And again, I had an offer of a reproduction scale, which again I bought several years ago and never fitted. When I restored this set, I restrung the scale. This is one of the few Eddystones that has actually got dial chords operating the band spread tuning, which is that one, and the main tuning, which is this one. When I did it, I think I used the wrong thickness dial chords, so you'll notice that when I'm turning this, it's not always working properly. It kind of sticks and then moves on. And I think I used too thick a dial cord and it binds a little bit. That's a good example of it there. Eventually it'll go, but it's really annoying, and it's one of the reasons I already stopped using this set. And I always mean to take it apart, put the correct size dial cord on it. You see now most of its original components. It's had some new capacitors, new resistors, these original silver mica caps there. I'll take the case off it later, and when I install these new reproduction parts and fix the dial cord and do some other checks to see how it's worn over the last decade or so. But it does work. It hasn't got a broadcast band. It's really shortwave bands only. It works from 1.8 megahertz through to 31 megahertz on 3 bands. And this top scale here is just a logging scale. It's got the amateur bands marked on here. They're sort of 1.715 to 2 megahertz. These are amateur bands as they were back in 1947, I guess. 14 to 14.4 megahertz, 7 to 7.3 megahertz, 3.5 to 3.6235 megahertz, 3.685 to 4 megahertz, and 28 to 30 megahertz. And those are indicated by little arcs on the scale. So it's coupled to an external speaker at the moment. It looks like it should have speakers in here, and I think that was the original intention, was to have a little speaker or 2 speakers inside the cabinet working through these louvers, but I guess they never got around to doing that for one reason or another. So as I say, there's no broadcast band. It's just on a few feet of wire at the moment, and nothing much happening on and the bands. There might be a little bit at the very top end of the broadcast band. Oh yeah, there you go.
Et je veux remercier surtout 3M et nos partenaires et voisins américains et toute l'équipe Canada qui a travaillé sur ça. Concernant l'avenir, avec nos
But most things work on it. BFO works. It's got a crystal filter, which is pretty good. Just single pole crystal filter. Phasing control. RF gain. Put an HT on off switch so you could put on standby while you're transmitting. A noise limiter. Manual or automatic volume control. Crystal phasing and AF gain. Band switch is this kind of cool lever, and that's about it. So I'll make another short video when I've completed the restoration work on this set.